Okay. I'm sorry about this, folks. As you've known me on this channel, I'm a bit, what's the word? Just, I have to do it right away. Let me nip this in the bud. Actually, I forgot to put it in the description. Let me go ahead and, I'm just going to drop the link. This is, an article from Haaretz. And it tells a little bit more about, may need to share the link another way. All right, fine. Whatever. All right. Yeah, babies. All right. I'll leave it in the pinned comment then once this is over. Okay. Okay, just forget it then. It won't. Yeah, YouTube rejected. All right, whatever. Okay. They don't like. Okay, so anyway, this is scot-free and God-given. I'm going to read the juicier bits here. Okay. So I'm going to just skip down here. This tells a little bit more about what happened to Mr. Lifsh. Joseph Lifsh, after the incident happened. So, to this day, the African community is outraged that Lifsh got off scot-free. Wouldn't it have been appropriate to ask that Lifsh stand trial in order to bring the whole episode to a more respectable conclusion? Menachem Brod, Chabad's spokesman in Israel, doesn't think so. The anti-Semites were after us. If we would have asked that he stand trial, there would have been no end to their demands. The Chabad community protected Lifsh in every way possible when dozens of reporters and photographers lay in wait for Lifsh outside the hall where the grand jury hearing was taking place. One of Lifsh's friends used diversionary tactics. He entered the hall from the back entrance, holding his coat over his head, and while the photographers pounced and took his picture, Lifsh himself went right in through the front door. No one paid him any attention. After his testimony, he was whisked away to a hiding place somewhere in New York. For several months, he wandered back and forth between Canada, Israel, and Russia. Shortly before Yom Kippur, after he testified before the grand jury, he came to Kfar Chabad, where he hid from the family of Angela Cato, who had filed a civil suit for damages against him in New York. This is priceless. If this actually happened, I have a little bit more respect for who I'm going to talk about. Okay. Yom Kippur Eve, Reverend Al Sharpton came to Israel to serve Lifsh with the court order. At the airport, he encountered a group of Haredim. "Go to hell," they yelled at him. "I'm already there. I'm in Israel," Sharpton retorted. I'm going to let y'all of the audience say that. I have that. Okay. Anyway, I'm just going to stop right there. Don't worry. I'm not gonna. Yeah, I'm feeding the flames already at this time. I'm sorry, but Haaretz does that to you. I mean, anyway. At exactly the same time, Lifsh arrived at the airport on a flight from Canada. He was swallowed up by a large crowd of Chabad Hasidim who'd come to greet him. Sharpton didn't notice him. When he couldn't find Lifsh in Israel, he tried to deliver the court order to the American embassy in Tel Aviv. The embassy personnel refused to accept it, and Sharpton returned to New York the same day. Since the defendant did not receive the papers or respond to them, the lawsuit was rejected. In August 2001, 10 years after his son was killed, Carmel Cato told the New York Daily News that he would like to sue Lifsh, but he couldn't do so because the Lifsh was not residing in the United States. Where's the justice? Sharpton asked in a newspaper interview. 10 years after the incident, this is from 2002. This article. The driver that hit the children should appear in court to face a civil suit. It's not right for there to be double standards of civil justice. Angela Cato was physically and emotionally traumatized by the accident and never received any monetary compensation. Not only did Lifsh not pay any compensation to the children's families, he also never met with them to express his sorrow or remorse. His lawyer, Barry Slotnick, said he had instructed his client not to approach the families in any way, although Lifsh is very sorry about what happened. It wouldn't be appropriate for him to meet with them, Slotnick told Newsday 10 days after the accident. Chabad's support for Lifsh was far-ranging. Besides paying for besides paying for his legal counsel, the Lubavitch community launched a public relations campaign to clear his name. Rabbi Shmuel Butman, director of the Chabad Youth Organization in New York, was appointed as the community spokesman for this purpose. He described Lifsh as a good Samaritan and said that Lifsh had saved 2 black people from a fire and received a commendation for the city of New York for it. Huh. Okay. Lifsh himself told Yedioth Aharonoth in 1991 that just 6 months ago, I actually saved the lives of 2 blacks. It was 4 a.m. I was out walking with a friend, and suddenly he said that he saw heavy smoke down the street. I ran there right away, and I called the police and the fire department. When I got there, I saw that there was a laundromat on the first floor, and there were a lot of cleaning products there. The fire was especially big. People said that there were 7 people trapped in the house. I went up to the front door and broke it down, and a woman who had been in the house managed to escape and survive. Then we noticed her son, who was standing on the window ledge, afraid to jump. We all thought all we could do was get away, but before that, we signaled to him to jump, and he jumped. A Newsday reporter who checked out the story was told by both the fire department and the city that they had no record of Lifsh's heroic rescue operation or of the commendation Butman claims he received. The accident in Crown Heights set off a chain of events. Several hours afterward, reports that Lifsh had been removed from the scene by Hatzalah ambulance and had left the injured child bleeding on the sidewalk. An angry mob started making its way towards Kingston Avenue. On the way there, they burned 2 cars, attacked a Jewish couple and another Jewish man who came out of one of the buildings. The mob crossed Kingston Avenue and headed to Brooklyn Avenue. There, several of them spied Yankel Rosenbaum, a Chabad, this is the one who got killed. Rosenbaum started to run. 15 people took after him and caught up to him and beat him and stabbed him, apparently. As a car arrived on the scene, all of the attackers, aside from 16-year-old Limerick Nelson, I kind of mentioned him a little bit. Limerick Nelson was the one that got off. He was the one that was seen on video, I guess, or at least was noticed by the cops, apparently, in this story. But he got off. He was not charged. Ran away. Rosenbaum was clutching Nelson's shirt and keeping him from escaping. Nelson stabbed him and ran off. Okay, there we go. When he was found, he had a bloody knife in his possession. So there's a lot of... Here we go. This is one of the ideas, once again, of how the system works right now. Even back in 1991, they were afraid to put brothers on, trial for that. Now, there are 2 other people that are in jail currently. And, I'll actually go back to that. Rosenbaum died a few hours later. Mayor Dinkins. Rosenbaum's family sued the hospital for $35 million because, the doctors only discovered the stab wound 45 minutes after Rosenbaum arrived at the hospital. Negligence was discovered. In 1998, Carmel Cato complained to Newsday that while Rosenbaum died due to medical negligence, blacks are still blamed for his killing. Meanwhile, Lifsh, who killed his son, was not arrested or brought to trial for having run that red light. The black community says that the discrimination continues to this day. In April of 1998, the state of New York announced a settlement of the federal rights lawsuit. Yankel Rosenbaum's estate and 80 other Jews who were injured in the riots were awarded $1.1 million in compensation. Giuliani, I'm sorry for the loss of life, for the human tragedy, for the damage and the way New York City functioned during the episode. Oh boy. Okay. Once again, this is the two-faced nature. Giuliani's apology made Carmel Cato furious. No one ever apologized to me. I want to know how these people feel when they talk and forget that a little boy was killed. They have no respect for my family. Fate dealt Cato another blow in January 1992 when the family home on President Street burned down. After spending several months in a city shelter, the family moved to Queens. In January of this year, 2002, Giuliani's final days in office, the Cato family finally received compensation in the amount of $400,000 due to the delay in caring for the child. The Federal Court of Appeals ruling that Nelson and Price were entitled to retrial. Those are the two folks that were arrested and put, but also proved to them that the first time around the court was biased in the redacted's favor. Judge Guido Calabrese. Oh my goodness. Okay. Said in his ruling that the jury selection process in the 1997 trial was improper. He concluded that in an effort to avoid bias, U.S. District Judge David Traeger had actually struck a deal with lawyers to place a redacted man, juror 108, who had admitted to bias on the panel in return for an additional black juror. Oh. Rabbi Shmuel Butman said he isn't worried about the retrial, but he draws a parallel between blacks and the Palestinians, saying that the Jews of Crown Heights were victims of terror. Oh, why would you do that? Why would you make it? Why would you just throw gasoline? Why would you do that? Oh my goodness, this is what fired things up after the act was the accident and the death of Gavin Cato, not the political propaganda. The black neighbors realized that the riots didn't bring them any benefit for political reasons. There was propaganda here. It was an accident, not a murder. And they received compensation from the city. The blacks were also angry that the Hatzalah ambulance team saved Lifsh and didn't help the injured children. Once again, research Hatzalah and okay. They wouldn't let our ambulance get close so that afterwards they could say that the redacted did them wrong. To a certain extent, we're dealing with terrorists here who behave like terrorists. The whole thing wouldn't have happened if Lifsh had been a more careful driver. It would happen to anyone. These are things that happen every day, and everyone understands that. 6 months before that, a Jewish boy was run over by a black, and the Jewish community didn't go on a pogrom. Pogroms usually work the other way around, but okay. The terror in Crown Heights and the terror in Israel have something in common. Today, no, you cannot. No, and this is this is a quote from Lifsh talking. The terror in Crown Heights and the terror in Israel have something in common. Today, it's Crown Heights, and tomorrow, it's Golan Heights. Bruh. This is... once again, it's too muddy to save. This is... He testified before the grand jury that something that's inconceivable every day in New York. There are accidents where people are killed and no one goes before a grand jury because of it. He didn't even run a red light. But let's say that someone did run a red light. Is that something you face a grand jury for? Oh, this is starting to make my blood boil now. This is, okay. Lifsh also managed to evade a civil lawsuit. The whole world knew that all they wanted to do was to run wild and cause problems for the Jewish community, just like the Arabs who want to run wild. Oh, no, what are you doing? It didn't work for them, and it won't work this time either. Oh, what do you do? Why are you doing this? You are making it that much work. Lifsh is familiar with all these arguments. For 10 years, senior members of the community have been explaining to him that he is not guilty, that it was just an ordinary accident. But how does his conscience cope with the killing of a 7-year-old boy? Leave my conscience to me, he said. Now, of course, let me bring this up back to the top here. And I'm going to read this little bit here. And once again, if I could not make up what he said, I could not make it up. I'm not that intelligent. Let me see what he says here. The story is behind me. I don't want to hear anything about it. I'm a simple person who happened to become involved in an ordinary car accident, the kind that happens dozens of times each day in New York. Nelson and Charles Price were convicted of assault and violating Yankel Rosenbaum's civil rights. They were sentenced to 21 and 19 years, respectively. This is this is one of those things where it's like you want a Fed post, you want to, but it's like, oh my, what are you even doing? You are making it worse. First it's Crown Heights, and then it's Golan Heights. Are you kidding me? It's just, oh, I'm really trying to understand, but it's like, this is why we can't get anything done, isn't it? This is why we cannot get anything done. The the narratives have been set up. The stories have been said. And there is no cutting through this. Like I said, there's so many things I could say, so many, but I'm at a loss for words at this moment. I really am. Absolute loss of words. That I didn't realize what he said. I mean, you read this for yourself. I'm going to put this article hopefully in the pinned comment, and you can read this yourself. I didn't make this. There's no way I could make this up. This is unbelievable. There's so many things running through my head that I'm trying to be more, at least understanding, at least trying to be, but yeah, I'm at a loss. Anyway, I thought that I saw that Haaretz article, and I'm like, okay, I gotta say something about this. So yeah, accidents have happened, but the rabbi's privilege makes a bad situation worse, so much worse. Yeah, exactly. And this guy was protected. This guy Livsh was protected by the community. He was hidden away, and like I said, they shipped him between Canada and the United States and Russia, and then did this, and they have told him what to say. I mean, the story. Once again, I hate to say it, but I'm going to have to Fed post here for a minute. This whole story that he saved a black family from a fire makes it so much worse. And that just, once again, this feeds into the whole Wignat narrative of, masturbation machines and all this other type of things that you feed into the narrative yourself. You're feeding it. That's why you don't even have to listen to anti-Semites. All you have to do is read stuff by these folks and see the stuff. I hate to say it, but they do it to themselves. They do it to... okay. All right. I've said my piece. My goodness. Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy on all this, but what a dirty, dirty thing. Oh, that's all I can say. Okay. Anyway, I'm going to end it there. Thank you, Glasnow, for making the comments. Yes, West Coast, definitely. God, oh my goodness. That's just, yeah. Okay, I'm done, folks. Y'all have a good one. And like I say, just as a CYA moment here, don't do anything crazy. Don't do anything wild because I said something with this. If people see this, they can go ahead and read that Haaretz article for themselves. And they can, if you think that that's any sort of rational way, or if there's any sort of anger or just disgust or any combination of those things, I don't see how anyone could not. And I'm going to keep it there. Dang, oh, that's bad. Okay. Bye-bye.